Hello and welcome. My name is ProfRich, and today we are talking about English legends and King Arthur. And this is an English class, a live English class. So we'll be talking about vocabulary involved with these legends, and I want to talk about the real historical truth in some of these legends. Yes, we started a bit early today. Because why not? Why not? Why not? Why not start early? Sometimes you got to start early. Why not? I don't know. I have my coffee. Do you have your coffee? How are you doing, everybody? And what do you know about King Arthur? It's that simple. Today, English legends. We're going to talk about different English legends, discuss their historical truth. This should not be capitalized. Neither should this. Talk about different English legends, discuss their historical truth, and learn related vocabulary. There will be time for questions, and there will be homework for Saturday. If you complete the homework, I will play the homework live on stream and we'll correct it. That's what we do every week. All right, folks, how's it going? Hello, Sleepwalker. Good to see you. Mina, how's it going? Where's your hat? Good question, Mina. Where is my hat? Hello, Pallavi. Hello, Julia. I'm a bit low energy today, so let's just go. Let's get into this, okay? Let me show you some pictures. Here's some pictures. These are pictures of English legends. Look at these pictures of English legends. Do you know all these pictures? Do you know what all these English legends are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pictures, 9 English legends. So let's have a chat in the chats. Let's have a chat in the chat. Let's have a chat in the chat. Let's talk together in the chat. Let's discuss which of these English legends do you know? Do you know what they are? Who's number 1? We see that guy a few times, don't we? Have you seen that guy? And Manuel says 7 is Merlin. Absolutely. Merlin. Merlin. You get that? The sound in English. Merlin. 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 Word. Earth. Bird. Merlin. And Mina says, I have no idea. Pallavi says, I don't know anyone. Fantastic. Manuel also says 6. Arthur is playing cards on his famous table. Looking good. Vladimir says 1. Little Archer. Any other ideas? People are going to join now and they're going to make complaints that I started early. Guaranteed. I can imagine it. Is that it, really? So Merlin, Arthur, and Little Archer. Is that that's what we have? What about number 5? Very famous Scandinavian story. Is it cold there, teacher? It's 17 degrees C. Same here. What? 17 degrees C? That's not cold. 17 degrees C? That's quite nice. I think here it's about 10. It's not that cold here. I just have my coat because I don't know. I don't even know why I have my coat on. I could take it off. It's not cold. It was cold 2 weeks ago. It was cold 2 weeks ago. It was 0, actually. Okay, so Manuel says 4 is John the Ark. And number 1 is William Tell. I guess, actually, number 1 does look like William Tell. Yes, number 1 is Robin Hood. Okay, number 1, Robin Hood. So number 1 is Robin Hood. Number 2 is the Green Knight. The Green Knight. Number 3 is Lady Godvere. So, right, sorry, Lady Godiva. Sorry, Lady Godiva. Number 4, it's St. George and the Dragon. St. George and the Dragon. You know that? Number 5 is Beowulf. Beowulf, an epic Saxon poem. Very famous, Beowulf. Number 6, King Arthur. Number 7, Merlin. Number 8, I don't know. What's number 8? What happened there? Number 8. I totally forgot what number 8 is. Oh, Glastonbury. Glastonbury Abbey. It's a mythical place. A magical place. Glastonbury. And number 9 is the Black Shuck. The Black Shuck. Yeah. You want to play with him? Good doggy. Good doggy. So these are our 9 legends for today. Robin Hood, the Green Knight, Lady Godiva, St. George, George and the Dragon, Beowulf, King Arthur, Merlin, Glastonbury, and the Black Shuck. I'm going to read some very easy sentences about these legends. And I want you to tell me, which picture am I talking about? So easy, folks. Are you ready? A. He's a famous king from old stories. He has a special sword and a group of brave men. He's a famous king from old stories. He has a special sword and a group of brave men. Boom, Sleepwalker. Very fast. It's King Arthur. Well done. Very easy. Okay. B. He's a wise man in old stories. He does magic. He helps a famous king. Oh, Takeshi got there first. Merlin. Well done. This is kind of a test of how fast your typing is. All right. C. There are stories about a special place. They say a special cup is there. It is a magical place. There are old stories about a special place. They say a special cup is there. It's a magical place. Oh, you just type the number now, do you? Yeah, it is 8. It's Glastonbury Abbey. Next. Some people say it's a ghost. It walks around at night. It can be scary. Some people say it's a ghost. It walks around at night. It can be scary. That's right. It's the Black Shuck, number 9. Okay. F. He takes money from rich people and gives it to poor people. He lives in a forest with his friends. He takes money from rich people and gives it to poor people. He lives in a forest with his friends. I was waiting for Pallavi on that one. Sometimes move a bit the head, Rich. It seems the screen does not work. Sorry? Move the what? I am moving. Oh, you mean if I don't move, you can't tell that anything's happening? Maybe if I wave my arms about. Yeah, so that is correct. That is 1 Robin Hood. 1 F. Okay, G. She's from an old story. She rode a horse with no clothes in a city to help people pay less tax. Her husband said he would lower the taxes if she did this. She's from an old story. She rode a horse with no clothes in a city to help people pay less tax. Her husband said he would lower taxes if she did this. Not got this one. This is G. She's from an old story. She rode a horse with no clothes in a city to help people pay less tax. Her husband said he would lower taxes if she did this. Oh, it was a delay. It was a delay. Haha. Yeah, I liked as well. YouTube. Must be YouTube. All right, moving on to H. Here's a hero from a story. He fought a dragon to save a princess. He's very brave. That's right. Sleepwalker. Boom. Straight away. It's George. St. George. George and the dragon. Finally, he's a hero in a big old story. He fights monsters and the dragon. He's very strong. He's a hero in an old story, fights monsters and dragons to save a princess. He's very strong. Sorry, he doesn't save a princess. That's George. He doesn't save a princess. He's a hero in a big old story, fights monsters and a dragon, and he's very strong. It's Beowulf, Pallavi, boom, and Takeshi as well. Oh no, dang, you got that wrong. It's the last one. Yeah, that's Beowulf. Does anyone know what the monster is called in Beowulf? Do you know what the monster is called in Beowulf? Pallavi says, I know, but she doesn't say anything. Manuel's asking me to smile. Am I not smiling enough? I'm authentic, Manuel. I'm an authentic person. That means real emotion. Real emotion. Oh, well done, Pallavi. Yeah, Grendel is what we learned, but Grandel, sure, whatever. Orc, they're kind of similar to an orc, not really. So, let's talk about the parts of this which are historically true. So first, let's consider the Black Shuck. What do you guys think about the Black Shuck? Let's have a look. There he is. So, is this true? Oh, am I full screen? What's happened to my camera? What's happened to everything? Hello, 1, 2, am I live? I feel like this is a bit of a disaster. Ah, there we go. Brilliant. Sorry, my head is not screwed on today. What am I... Ginger, it's not the time to be knocking stuff off the shelves. Come here, Gingy. Come on. Oh, folks, it's been a special day, and it's being made more special by my cats destroying my house. So the Black Shuck, what do we think about that? What truth could there be? Nothing at all, says Manuel. Are you sure? Zero truth. Okay. Let me tell you about this. So, although the beast itself, the Black Shuck, like this, is probably not true, there are a lot of stories about this kind of thing in English legends, especially. The Hound of the Baskervilles, the Black Shuck, there's some others, the Beast of Bodmin. So, the truth is, there probably are wild dogs, dogs with rabies, wolves, and so on, which have caused problems in the past. So they do occasionally attack someone, cause a problem, cause an injury. And that's probably where the stories of these sorts of creatures come from. So in fact, there is some historical truth in these stories that there are wild animals out there, or even just dogs with rabies, things like that. It can happen, especially in history, when we had less control over nature. Not so much werewolf, that's a bit much, but come on, you're mocking us. I'm not. I'm saying there's some truth. There really is some truth to this. Okay, look, that, not like that, but imagine there's a wild dog, it attacks someone, they get scared, it's late at night. Then when they tell the story, oh, there was this beast, you know. I mean, you're not just going to say, oh, it was just a wild dog. That's boring, right? And when people are afraid, like, things seem so different. It seems so different. All right, so I'm going to tell you about another legend. Which legend am I talking about? So, it's possible that he was a Celtic Roman leader who fought Saxon invaders, but we don't know for sure. It's possible he was a Celtic Roman leader who fought off Saxon invaders, but we don't know for sure. Who do you think that is? It's possible he was a Celtic Roman leader who fought off Saxon invaders, but we don't know for sure. There's this guy. Yeah, it's this guy. It's quite funny. We don't have a lot of history about the Celtic kings, because the Celts, they weren't, from what we can tell, they either weren't very good at keeping records, or those records were destroyed by the Saxons. The Saxons were pretty good at records. Famously, Alfred the Great. He was really good with records. He wrote a lot of stuff down. And that actually ended up being very beneficial. It's interesting, Alfred the Great, he could read and write, because Alfred the Great was never intended to be king. He was the younger brother. But his elder brother died, and he inherited the throne of Wessex. So he was supposed to be the brother who was holy and read the books and wrote stuff, and he wasn't supposed to be the leader guy. But his brother died, and he became the leader, the king, and he kept writing stuff down. And ever since Alfred the Great, we kept up this kind of tradition of keeping records. So from him onwards, we got lots of records. But the Celts, we don't have a lot of records about them. By the way, the Celts, the English Celts, they're called the Britons with an O. Like that. Britons. That's what we call the English Celts. There was some discussion about that on comments for one of the other videos, because we were talking about the Celtic tradition. All right, I'm going to read some information about one of the other legends. Tell me, who do you think this is? He was a real guy and a Roman soldier. However, his killing of the great beast is likely to be symbolic. He was a real guy and a Roman soldier. However, his killing of the great beast is likely to be symbolic. Good guess with the Green Knight, but no. Who am I talking about? It's not the Green Knight. It's not Arthur. Pallavi says, who were the Celts? So the Celts were a cultural group of people who lived all throughout Europe. And part of that cultural group are the Britons. The Britons were the native English Celts. These days, they are somewhat related to the Welsh. So the modern Welsh are kind of what's left of the native English Celts. The Celts also were the Irish and the Scottish, but the Irish and Scottish Celts are a bit different. I'll read it again for everybody. Manuel, listen up. He was a real guy and a Roman soldier. However, his killing of the great beast is likely to be symbolic. Do you need to see the pictures again? Let's have a look. Ah, there we go. What do you think? Beowulf, that's a really good guess, but it's not true. So for your information, Takeshi, Beowulf is a Scandinavian. He's Nordic. So it's a Nordic legend. Manuel, what do you mean that England didn't exist at the time? At what time? When we had the Celts, the Britons, they had kings. I mean, could you really say that... I mean, King Arthur, is he an English legend? Because if he is, then the English Celts were definitely English, right? If King Arthur is an English legend, then the Celts are definitely part of English mythology. Yes, it's number 4. Well done, Takeshi. It's George. Do you guys know who George is? George, Saint George. George is the patron saint of England. And there's a famous story about how he kills the dragon. So the thing about George is he was a real person, but actually he was Turkish, really. He was from the Eastern Roman Empire. So not really that related to England, but we liked the symbolism of him slaying the dragon, I think. So he never visited England even. Our patron saint never actually came to England. But there you go. Okay, who do you think I'm talking about with this one? His character might be based on wise old mysterious men who were real historical figures, such as Mirrodin the Wild or Taliesin the Bard. Do you know what a bard is? A bard is someone who plays guitar. So, Mirrodin the Wild, who was like this crazy guy who lived in the forest with all these herbs, and Taliesin the Bard. These were real people. Who is based on these people? It is, of course, Merlin. That's correct. It's Merlin. So Merlin really is our archetypal wise old man, is he not? The archetypal wise old man. All right, everybody, let's move on. I want to set the homework, and then we're going to just have an open discussion, question time. I know it's super short today, but, you know, sometimes you have a bad day at the office and you just don't feel like it, you know. So we're going to just move on here to the homework. So here's our homework assignment. I'd like you to investigate one of the English legends from today. I'm not going to repeat who they are again. You know who they are from the start of the stream. Investigate one of the English legends. Record a 2-minute summary of the story. I want to emphasize here, do not write a script. Okay? Do not write a script. I don't want a script. I just want you to do some research, make some notes, send me that recording, and then we'll look at that on Saturday, this Saturday. So you've got 4 days, 3 days, 4 days to do that. All right? Great. Let's move on to question time. Has anyone got any questions about English? Save me from my low energy. I'm looking forward to Christmas. Are you guys looking forward to Christmas? I am really looking forward to Christmas. I can't wait, actually, for Christmas. I think it's going to be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It already is fantastic. I'm really enjoying my Christmas so far. I am really enjoying my Christmas so far. It's absolutely brilliant. Lady Godiva was Anglo-Saxon, Rich, because I was talking about English. Let's get into that, Manuel. Let's talk about it. What is English? I'm gonna let's do this. right? English. King Arthur is an Old English king. The Anglo-Saxons were English. Alfred the Great, definitely English. Now, where things go a little differently for me is William the Conqueror. He was not English, and he did not become English. He was always Norman, but he was a clever boy, William the Conqueror. He made a real effort. He made a real effort. This was in 1066, the 10th century. He made an effort to teach his children to be English. Because he knew if you're going to be the king of this country, you can't just continue being French. That's not going to work, right? We can be a bit French, but we've got to be very English. And his children adapted and became English. Quite well, actually. And so did the rest of his family, reportedly. Still some distinction. The old Norman aristocracy and the Saxon peasants. Even today, you know, you can see people who have kind of descendancy from the Normans, and they often come from wealthy families, even today, 1,000 years later. However, they became English. That family, those group of people, they became English. England did not change for them. They changed for England. And go forward and go forward and go forward. At some point, you have to start saying that there are certain things in England which are not English, and English is something. But there's not a black and white rule for that, actually. The concept of English is what we call a thick concept. There are many, 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 many things that go into this idea of Englishness, just like with any country, Spanish, American, whatever. There's lots of things which go into that. And you can't simply say 0 or 1. You have to have more of a discussion about it. It's philosophical discussion, really. Did they speak English? No, Takeshi. What we think of as English, and actually what we think of as any language that you want, has changed a lot and changes a lot today. So, although we could say, they spoke something that contributed to modern English, it would have been totally different. And that is the same for Chinese, for Japanese, for Spanish, whatever you want. Choose any language, go back in time 500 years, and you have something vastly different. Vastly different. Right? It just evolves and contributes to that modern language. Languages change super fast. Like really, really, really fast. We don't realize how fast they change. We're starting to realize how fast languages change now because we have audio recordings from 100 years ago, the 1920s. So now we can really see how fast language changes. It changes real fast. I mean, people speak very differently. Not just accent, everything. Grammar changes, accent changes, vocabulary changes. It all changes. Quick as well. Very real quick. So, like, here's an example, Takeshi. If you take a group of 50 people, put them on an island, go away and come back in 30 years, the way they speak will be significantly different than the country that they came from. Significantly. They will still understand each other, but it will be very noticeable that these people have been in their own community somewhere else. It evolves super quick. This is one of the things that you learn if you study linguistics, applied linguistics. There's a comment there for Wawan Adi. Hello, Wawan Adi. What's this? Way to speak internationally. Wawan Adi, can you clarify what you mean there? New technology brings words, slang appears. You invented the new language. So first of all, language evolves gradually over time. You don't just invent a new language. We are constantly inventing language. Constantly. Have you ever invented a new word talking to your friends? It happens quick. Just takes a few hundred years. People speak English to talk all over the world. That's right. We call that English as a lingua franca. No, not like Esperanto. That is the opposite of what I'm talking about. So, Esperanto is a language that was actually synthetically created. But languages like Spanish, English, French, they are natural evolutions of languages before them. They don't get created intentionally. They evolve naturally, and then we look at them and say, "Hey, are there any rules to this?" Oh, there are some rules, luckily, and then that's grammar and so on and so on. But language is a very natural process. Esperanto is not a natural language. And actually, Esperanto is very unpopular. It's a kind of an example of what happens when you try to make a logical language first. When you try to create a language, it doesn't work. You need to just let people do it. And then observe what they have done. You know, Shakespeare invented thousands of words himself. He just made them up. He just made them up. The greatest playwright in the English language, he invented like 3,000 words. If you do that, if you write a story for your English teacher and you invent 1,000 words, what do you think? How do you think they react? F. Fail. What is this? For some reason, Shakespeare could do it. Even reading books from 19th century, we come across old-fashioned words. Correct. So what you can see in books a lot is you see old-fashioned words and you see the grammar is a bit different. You can definitely see that in English. 19th century books, the grammar is different. And there's some different words. But really what would be fascinating is to hear them. If we could hear them, we would really hear a difference to how they speak. For sure. That's why it's so fascinating to listen to these recordings from the 1920s. You can find them if you Google like linguistic recordings, 1920s, accent changes, these kind of things. Listen to English people speaking from the 1920s. It's wild. Like, I can hardly understand them. actually. It's only 100 years. It's the 20s. It's my grandfather, maybe my great-grandfather. I could barely understand it. Very difficult to understand. Which is fascinating, isn't it? Very, very interesting to see that sort of stuff happen. So, great linguistic conversation. Does anyone have any English language questions I can help you with? There's no such thing as a weird Spanish, Manuel. Weird Spanish is just the non-standard, and the standard is just decided by the people with the big guns. In 100 years, English will be different. That's right, Sleepwalker. We talked about that. I did a stream about that, like last month, about English in the future. And we can try to predict some things that will change. So let's just talk a bit about that, English in the future. So there's a few things which I think are likely. They are integration of spoken contractions into writing, addition of more spoken contractions. By the way, spoken contractions are gonna, wanna, coulda, etc. Okay, you can see that Google doesn't like that. Google Drive spell check doesn't like it. Because it's not correct writing right now. This is incorrect writing right now. But in the future, these will be accepted forms. Yes, they will. So the integration of spoken contractions into writing, yes, that's going to happen. The addition of more spoken contractions, yes, we always go in that direction, of the direction of contractions, the direction of spoken contractions. That's where actually a lot of irregular verbs come from. They come from a spoken contraction, which kind of changes over time. We're likely to... actually, English specifically is likely to have less international idioms and more regional idioms because it's so popular worldwide. One of the things that's going to happen with English is we're going to have more regional standards. So, we've got British and American standard. But in the future, we're going to have British, American, Indian, Singlish from Singapore, etc. Lots and lots of different standards of English, local standards of English as well as global standards of English. So we can use the global standard to communicate with each other, and then when communicating locally, we use our local variant. It seems to be going that way. Arduous, grueling, and tough, can they be used interchangeably? Tough is the most general of those things. The most general, the most common. Tough more or less means difficult, but also could mean hard, kind of hard or not soft. Okay, moving on to grueling and arduous. So grueling is more extreme. So for grueling, we're going to say it's very, very difficult and extensive. It's hard work and it goes on. So grueling, kind of hard work and it goes on. And then let's say it's very difficult and tiring. I think that's a better, it really tires you out. The idea of grueling. And then arduous. Arduous, very similar to grueling. So these two are kind of similar to each other. They can pretty much be used interchangeably. But you know, arduous is kind of like grueling plus a sense of monotony or repetition. It's like it's got that sense of and again and again and again and again and oh my God, I can't do this anymore. So arduous kind of has that. So tough is absolutely the most common, absolutely the most general. And then grueling and arduous are a bit more specific. They've got that real physical exhaustion, with arduous having that kind of hint of repetition. The best way to think about using these is what collocations can we use with them. So it's always good to have a look at collocations. That gives you a good sense of use. And that's exactly what you asked for, isn't it, Takeshi? You said, what context do you use them? Well, tough you can use with everything. Like, he's a tough guy. This steak is too tough. It's been overcooked. The English class is tough today. I need to study more. Okay, so use tough in all kinds of ways like that. As for grueling, I had an absolutely grueling workout yesterday. I was destroyed afterwards. So grueling workout. And what about arduous? Don't think I would use arduous that much, actually. Let's see what I can. Arduous. I'm gonna have to steal one from somewhere. Oh yes, an arduous journey. That's a good one. The 12-hour plane journey was so arduous. Yes. Difficult, tiring, extensive. Look, the idea of extensiveness going on and on, like I said. Does the snow fall in your country, teacher? Not right now, Pallavi, but it does happen. It does happen. Yeah. Okay, folks, do you have any other questions? Any other questions? It's been a bit of a day today, hasn't it? Shall I sing? Oh God. Oh, la 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 la. Yeah, I'm not ready to play guitar. I'm not. I haven't been practicing or anything. I need to practice more. If I practice on it, I could learn some Christmas songs and maybe sing some Christmas songs for you. I did learn to play guitar by myself. But I did get some tips, and honestly, I think getting tips, that's little pieces of advice, can be very helpful. Actually, very appreciative. Having a knowledgeable, experienced teacher who knows how to teach can be very helpful. And getting tips did help me, but they came a little bit late. I already made mistakes. I used to play guitar like this, so stiff and hard, and then it takes ages to get out of the habit and kind of relax, you know? And then when you're trying to fix bad habits, that's tricky. Isn't it, Pepper? Eh? Isn't that tricky? Rubbish. Need to practice. David Crystal, famous British writer, said that there were 6,000 different languages. In the year 2050, it will be nearly 3,000. I mean, the question is, Manuel, what is a language and how do you define it and blah, 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 blah. But yes, in general, linguistic diversity is decreasing because of globalization. This is a Spanish guitar. That's true. And I don't normally play acoustic. In English, we call it an acoustic guitar, Manuel. Electric guitar is my forte. But of course, electric guitar requires a bit more equipment. Right, it seems like the questions are drying up. Sorry, folks. Today, I am just not in the mood. Didn't do enough prep. And I just feel zoned out. So thank you for joining me as always. I hope it's been helpful. And join us on our Discord. Check out the homework that we've got here. Give that a go. Send that in on our Discord. That's bit.ly/englearnchat. Englearnchat. And I will see you on Saturday. Have a lovely week. Enjoy yourself. And I'll catch you later. See you later, folks. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.